Hey there. Excuse me. So, as you may know, I am pushing myself out of my comfort zone by doing these lives with no bullet points, no nothing, just coming on as me and just sharing what comes up in my heart to share. And I'm doing this for 21 days straight. And I realized yesterday, after day 3, that 21 days is a long time. It's a long time. If you've ever fasted, we know when we fast, 21 days, it's a long time. So this, for me, is sort of a different type of fast. And I guess you could say that I am leaning into this particular fear. And honestly, I am the type of person that I hate being controlled by fear. And so it is probably not uncommon for me. In fact, I know it's not uncommon for me to face my fears. It may take me a while to get there. I may stumble along the way. It won't be a perfect process, but it is part of my process, because I believe that if you are a believer in Jesus, then you have power. You have power to overcome. I believe that Jesus died on the cross to give us that power. And so I don't want his sacrifice to be in vain as far as I'm concerned. And part of that is me becoming the whole version of me, the whole version of who he designed and created me to be. And that means being able to just show up as myself at all times, in all places. I don't always have to have it all figured out. I don't always have to have it all figured out. I don't always have to have it all planned out. I don't always have to have it all prepared. I just need to stay open to God's leading. I just need to make my priority spending time in God's presence, so that I can be led by Holy Spirit. And yeah, that's the way I want to live my life. To me, that is abundant living. That is living in overflow, which is learning to live from a place of supply, a place of sufficiency, a place of even more than enough, rather than what we too often do is we function from a place of deficit, where we're just pushing ourselves and we really don't have the energy to do all the things that we're trying to do, but we just keep pushing ourselves. And I'm going to tell you where that ends up, living life like that, because this is how it ended up for me. That ends up in burnout. It ends up in your body shutting down and your mind shutting down and you not being able to do anything. And so I want to avoid that ever happening again in the future. And I pray the same for you. I pray it has never happened to you. But if it has, I do believe that we can learn to live a different kind of way. But it requires some different habits, some different mindsets, being willing to do things differently. If we want something different, we're going to have to do something different. And so that requires extra effort. That requires a different focus, extra focus. But how bad do you want it is the question. I thought I was going to come on here and talk about it being Friday, the end of the work week, and maybe ask you what you have planned for the weekend, but that's not what came out. And so we're going to roll with it. We're going to flow with it. And just let me encourage you to do something different. If you want something different, it's time to do something different. I was on a podcast show last night, which is called Life, Love, and All the Above, with my friends over there. I call them my cousins, Dr. Sean and Coach Passion. And we were on with a gentleman who has written a book about online dating, but the show was mainly about being over 50. And and we were saying from our perspective, tomorrow is not promised, right? But really at any age, tomorrow is not promised. You just don't know. So I'll say this and then I'll sign off. It's time for us to start prioritizing our lives. It's time for us to start, it's time for us to start prioritizing what is important to us, prioritizing our values, and learning to develop habits and practices and structures that revolve around those values. Because we don't know, and I'm really looking at it a lot now because I'm actually going to be 60 in a few weeks. 2 months. And I got to thinking about how more than likely I have more days behind me than I do in front of me. And so I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time spending my time on things that are not part of God's plan for me, are not part of God's purpose for me. Because when I leave this earth, I really do want to hear God say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." I want to hear that. And so if I want to hear that, I have to be intentional about it, about how I live my life, about the decisions that I make, about how I spend my energy. I have to be intentional about all that stuff. And that is becoming more and more important to me. And I actually started this year of 2023 out with that mindset of living with more intentionality. So, hey, I guess that's our word for this Friday, day 4 of 21 is, what do you want to be intentional about? What do you want to be more intentional about? What do you need to be intentional about? And then get to work on that. Get moving, because tomorrow is not promised. All right. I thank you. I appreciate you. I value you. And I thank you for joining me today. And I will be back here tomorrow around the same time, probably in the same place, because I don't feel like moving nothing to anywhere else but here in my home office. So have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.